Welcome to the PBM Insider. I'm Jim Lodge, an actual PBM Insider. You've probably heard it before. Group purchasing organizations, or GPOs, are supposed to drive bulk purchasing savings for health plans and their members. But what if instead of saving money, they're quietly adding cost? That's exactly what the Federal Trade Commission found. In January of 2025, the FTC released its second interim staff report on prescription drug middlemen. Among its key findings, the so-called Big Three pharmacy benefit managers and their affiliated GPOs and specialty pharmacies are reaping billions of dollars in excess markups, and those markups ultimately land on health plans and their members. Here's how it works. A GPO is supposed to aggregate the purchasing power of multiple buyers and negotiate lower prices. But many of the largest PBMs have launched their own GPOs and are negotiating manufacturer rebates, fees, and formulary placement in a way that lines their own pockets, not necessarily delivering true savings to the plan sponsor or member. For example, in one drug category analyzed by the FTC, pharmacies affiliated with major PBMs were reimbursed at 20 to 40 times the benchmark acquisition cost for certain specialty generics. Overall, the affiliated pharmacies generated more than $7.3 billion in dispensing revenue, in excess of the national average drug acquisition cost, also known as NADAC, over a recent 6-year period. The kicker in all this, these higher costs aren't always transparent to the health plan or the member. Often, rebates and fees are tucked away in complex contracts, and formularies steer patients toward higher priced drugs rather than the lowest net cost option. Why? Because they generate higher rebates and fees. So the promise of bulk purchasing savings from a GPO starts to look a lot more like, hey, we keep the fees and rebates, you pay the cost. The FTC's language reinforces this. The biggest PBMs and their GPO type affiliates are using their market power to inflate costs, squeeze independent pharmacies, steer prescriptions, and reduce transparency. Those words, folks, are the words of your Federal Trade Commission. So, if you're a health plan or an advisor, don't just assume your GPO arrangement is delivering savings. You need to really know your GPO. Ask questions like, where are the rebates and fees going, and where is that disclosed? Do my GPO or PBM-owned entities keep a portion of the rebates and fees rather than returning those savings to the plan? Are formularies steering toward higher cost drugs because of hidden fees or rebates? Are benchmark costs, like NADAC, being surpassed? If so, why? Because the FTC says the system isn't working the way it should, the GPO promise of lower costs is too often a mirage. And unless you demand transparency and accountability, your members may be paying the bill instead of benefiting from the promise. This is the PBM Insider, keeping you informed.